Hello, welcome to Seeing Peru, a remote viewing travelogue. My name is Kim Bon Young, and I've just landed 18 hours ago in Lima, Peru. I'm sharing pictures and stories about my esoteric tour of historic Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island with the News Nation journalist Ross Coulthart, his friend J.P. Haig, and the tour leader Brian Forrester of Hidden Inca Tours. But this is not just a video about my vacation pictures. I've been doing remote viewing now for about 4 years. I'm a student in transdimensional mapping with Bertie Jaworski, following my training with controlled remote viewing with Lynn Buchanan and Lori Williams of New Mexico. Remote viewing means to train and change your consciousness to see, hear, taste, touch, really experience anything in any time or location just using your intuition. It sounds crazy, but it works. Does it really work? Follow me for the next 21 days and you'll decide. Anyone can do it. I'll tell you how I got here and what you'll be seeing. In preparation for this trip, I spent 21 days creating what we call a map using my intuition, answering this question that I posed to my unconscious. I said, describe the most important parts of my experience on blank date, fill in the date. I had 21 envelopes and I wrote a random number on the outside of the envelope. Here, I have the tags here. I wrote this tag number, which wasn't here when I wrote it, on the outside of the envelope. And I had a card, all of these cards with the different dates of my tour. And I put the cards down, upside down, so I couldn't see it. And I slipped a card into each of the envelopes, not knowing which of the tag numbers corresponded to which date. It's important that you be blind to the target to do a good remote viewing. Then I shuffled all the dates and I shuffled all the numbers that there was no correlation. So I had no idea which date I was seeing when I did my protocol. I sealed the envelopes, of course, and I never looked at it again. Well, I never looked inside of it until afterward. But I had no idea which date I would be viewing. So each of the 21 days, I took one of the envelopes and I wrote the tag number, again, this number, just a random number, which was on the outside of the envelope, not here. And I used that number to allow my unconscious to make a connection with that date in the future. Somehow, I don't know how, your unconscious makes a correlation between this just random number and what you've asked it to view. So then I went through the protocol, which I won't be going into right now, but in getting the data for that date, which largely comes in symbolic pictures, sketches, words, but also literal data from the most important experiences for me on that date. So I'll take pictures as I go, just to show some cool things. And in the evening, I'll share with you what happened, stories about what happened, and my remote viewing map, which is a prediction of what's going to happen and an explanation, a further deeper explanation of what's going to happen and what we encounter. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've seen the maps now. I should say that once I finished all the viewing, I didn't go over my itinerary or anything for the tour. I have no idea where we're going. A tiny idea, but not day by day. And then at the end of all my viewing, I took out the slips. I wrote the corresponding tag number that was on the outside of the envelope, got rid of the envelopes, wrote it on here, and then I put them in the order of the dates, put my maps in the order of the actual dates. And then it was really fun because I correlated that with the itinerary, which I hadn't looked at before. So I knew where we were going on each date, and I could see my data already was just having amazing correlations and surprising insights into where we were going. So that was a really fun process. And I just did that 3 days ago on Sunday. So that's my process. I'll start with my travel day yesterday, November 11th. I left San Francisco at about 1:30 p.m. and I traveled through El Salvador and arrived in Lima, Peru about 3:30 a.m. So I slept most of the day today, which is the 12th. Didn't have a lot of exciting adventures today, but I'll share that in the next video. Because the 11th was a travel day, I don't have as many cool photos to show as I normally will, I think, but I'll show you how my unconscious was adapting to being in a new culture. It has quite a bit of data about flying and things related to that, and some experiences along the way. So I'm going to switch over and turn the camera around and show you in just a moment.